What is up, everyone? ND Sean 45 here. Yes, it has been a while since I did anything on this channel, and I'm talking like a full-length video, not like the little message I gave you guys after, after this.
Yeah.
And also, welcome along an old friend of mine, Syracuse and Buffalo Sports. How have you been doing, man? It's been a while.
Been doing great. A lot of work. I've been working a lot. I haven't updated to my channel a lot because of the fact that I've been working. It hasn't been because of that, and I've also been going to a lot of Bills games. I've been to every single Bills home game, including I went to two away games as well. So, I've been pretty busy, man. I was also at the AFC Wildcard matchup between New England and Buffalo, and that was one hell of a game to be at. I'm sure the only people that had fun watching that were Bills fans. Everybody else was either bored or died of disappointment.
Oh, I'm sure that was what a massacre that was. I thought New England would have a little more fight than that, but it's the playoffs, man. That's where you see a lot of true talent come out, and true I don't know if I'd say regression or choke, but you see who really wants it is what I'm getting at.
Yep.
So anyway, folks. So Syracuse and Buffalo Sports and I, we had originally planned to do the whole playoffs and not start our making predictions here in the second round. But like you guys saw, still in a sling. I've had a lot of things to focus on after the surgery, which I'm only 2 weeks out of. So I've had physical therapy to focus on and all sorts of things to go along with it. So I apologize we didn't get to Super Wild Card, but hey, like I told you, man, before we started filming, better late than never. So we still have a lot of fun to get to here. And as you guys can see, even though we're not in the playoffs, I'm wearing my Bears cap because this is an NFL video. So
yeah, I wasn't prepared for this at all. I should have had my Allen jersey at the ready, but I literally Sean sent me the link to get into the stream, and I literally just pulled in to the parking lot of my apartment building. So,
well, if you needed a break, I could have.
No. It was cool. I just kind of scrambled into position here and just to get started. And
yeah.
So
been there, done that.
Let's get it going. Even though I'm going to say before, I feel like. The wild card matchups, I feel like they're pretty easy to predict. I feel like mostly everything happened the way I thought it would, except I kind of thought that the Rams Cardinals game would be a little bit different than how it ended up. And I certainly didn't predict the Bills to win by 30. That's for sure.
Right.
I kind of thought the Cardinals were going to show up and have a bit of a chance there. I did not see that game going the way it did. I mean, that was probably the shocker of the weekend for me, personally. Other than that, though, I mean, I think pretty much everything kind of went straight and narrow. Chiefs blew out the Steelers. Bucks blew out the Eagles. We had a pretty exciting game between the Bengals and Raiders, who finally got their playoff monkey off their back. Bills beating the Patriots wasn't a huge surprise to anybody. They kind of thought it'd be a closer game. With the cold, but it didn't end up happening. And, man, what other – oh, and you know what? I have to say that the Niners-Dallas game was a bit of a shock to me as well. That's one that I would have predicted wrong. I felt that the Niners had a very good chance to win the game, but I didn't really think they would. I kind of thought Dallas would be able to exploit their secondary. The Cowboys just played terribly. And, then they wanted to blame the refs at the end as if that extra second was some sort of guarantee that they would have won the game.
Well, let me tell you something about that game real quick. So on Sunday, I was watching that game. It was my birthday on Sunday. Turned 36.
Oh, happy belated birthday, Sean. I didn't know that.
Thanks, dude. It's okay. No big deal. I was just telling you what I was doing. So I had that game on, and yeah, it's crazy that I'm 36 now. It doesn't feel real. But what surprised me the most about that game was how it ended. I see 14 seconds on the clock, and Prescott decides to run to get. What are they doing?
I almost think that was a called play. I think that was the play that was called, which is even more bizarre.
Well, here's the thing. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was done. I mean, that's what was really more bizarre is if that play was called, Kellen Moore shouldn't be up for any head coaching jobs, and Mike McCarthy should be out of Dallas. And I don't know. That's just the most bizarre thing I've seen. And then to blame the ref for, I mean, I'm pretty sure the ref has to spot the ball, doesn't he? You can't just. I don't think the ball was even where it was supposed to be spotted.
No, you can't.
The ref literally had to move the ball a whole yard, half a yard, because it wasn't where it was supposed to be spotted. They hadn't even spotted the ball, and they tried to run up there, and they blamed the refs at the end of the game. Which I'll tell you what, I hate the officials too. I think they stink at their job. I don't do much blaming them in Bills' losses, but I think they need to be held accountable. But in that case, maybe you shouldn't run a quarterback draw on with 14 seconds left.
Well, here's what I was going to say about that. Yes, the referee has to be the one to spot the ball. I mean, obviously, a player from the offense can't do it. But what's so bizarre was when they ran the ball, I'm like, what are they doing? Not that I had a preference on who wins the game, but I'm like, what are they doing?
Imagine how Dallas fans were.
Yeah, but after thinking about it, I understand now. Okay, they tried to do a draw and get some yardage to set up one final pass for the end zone. Not a Hail Mary, because Hail Mary, I think you got to be a little further back, of course. But whatever, it doesn't matter. They were trying to set up for one last shot to the end zone. But you need more than 14 seconds to be able to do that, because as we've discussed already, you have to figure the time that it's going to take to spot the ball, for the chains to move and all that. You need more than 14 seconds to do something like that. So I now get what they were trying to do, but there was not enough time.
Well, I mean, what they're attempting to do is certainly clear, but you're telling me that isn't Dak a pretty big guy? You're telling me he couldn't have bulldozed his way to the sideline or something? Like you can't. Why do you run to the middle of the field? Yeah. Why would you do that? That just makes no sense. And then they act as if that the ref situation was like the end all be all of the game. We should have won the game, those damn refs. No, there's no guarantee that you even, and if they score, the Cowboys probably would have held anyway. So it doesn't really matter either way.
Yeah, exactly. So after that brief recap, let's get to what what the title of this video says. Let's project or make our picks for the next round of the playoffs.
Are we live, or is this a video?
This is just a video. Okay. We're not going live.
All right.
But let's go with the first game. We'll start in the NFC. Green Bay Packers against San Francisco 49ers. This one's pretty easy for me based on the hat that I'm wearing. I'm going with the 49ers just because I hate the Packers and I hate Aaron Rodgers.
That's fair. That's totally fair. And you want to give a little bit of a breakdown behind your a little breakdown behind your pick, how the 49ers can win this game, you think?
Well, I think they just need to do what they did against Dallas. I mean, they got Dallas on the ropes early. But I'm not worried about their offense, because their offense stepped up, but their defense seemed to kind of play a little bit softer, and hence Dallas was able to get back into the game. So the defense needs to step it up against this high-powered Packer offense. But no, I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo was leading the Niners down the field, made some nice throws, didn't have a bad game. So just get some consistency and you'll be all right. Right.
And totally, I did hear that he's nursing a couple of injuries. So you have to. I think it's going to be interesting to see how that affects him. In the sub-zero temperatures up there in Green Bay. That's not something he sees a lot of.
Right.
But let me tell you this: I think if Green Bay wanted one of two matchups, it would have probably been they would have played the Rams. I think they would have rather seen the Rams than the 49ers, but I think they're going to get bailed out in this one, and I'll tell you why. I don't believe Jimmy Garoppolo will be able to be nearly as effective with the injuries he's nursing, and those injuries get real tight in that weather. But I'll tell you this, the Niners definitely match up better. And, I don't like to refer to games earlier in the season, but they played them very close earlier in the season, and they had a formula going where they ran the ball. You can run the ball on the Green Bay Packers.
Yes.
You can run the ball on the Green Bay Packers. And I feel that is a matchup that the 49ers can exploit. Now, the problem is that their secondary is atrocious in San Francisco. So I honestly don't see them, because if they're not going to be able to throw the ball effectively in the cold with Jimmy G nursing injuries, you're not just going to run the ball to victory. This isn't New England Buffalo on Monday night in a windstorm. This is Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers. It's just not happening. So I think Green Bay wins this game probably quite convincingly.
Yeah, I mean, of course, what I want to happen and what probably is are two different things. But like I said, I got to pick the 49ers just on principle.
I'd love to see it, man. I really would. I'm not a huge Aaron Rodgers fan myself. I just think he's kind of a douche.
Yeah, but he is a douchebag, and I hate him for other reasons. And none of it has to do because of the fact that that he's a good player and he's tortured my team. That has nothing. I mean, you don't like it, of course, but I don't hate him and for anything to do with that. But yeah,
you don't hate him for screaming "I own you" in the end zone.
Well, that's play related. Nothing to.
Yeah.
He's not. I don't think he's an asshole or a douche because of that.
Oh, he's definitely. I know what you mean. Yeah.
Whole different topic. So anyway, let's get on to the next game here. We have a very intriguing matchup: the Rams against the Bucs. Now, I got to be honest with you. This is tough for me. You have two teams that I think are very evenly matched, but I think the difference here with this is there's more of a camaraderie with Tom Brady and his offense. I mean, he has Gronkowski with him, him and Goodwin and all the other guys in that receiving core. There's just so much chemistry, and I'm not saying that Stafford doesn't have the chemistry with his guys, but it's just the Bucs have the edge in this one, and I do think they're two evenly matched teams, but I got to go with the Bucs in this one because they've got it going, man. They're on a roll.
Did you say Godwin? Chris Godwin? Are you talking about? Chris Godwin is unfortunately out for the year.
I forgot about that. Damn it.
And then Antonio Brown said, I'm gonna get up out of here, and he threw his shirt and gloves into the stands.
I saw that. I forgot about Godwin being hurt.
Did some jumping jacks on his injured ankle.
Now I should probably start this video over because I just made a complete.
No, it's no big deal. I
just completely forgot he was hurt.
We're not gonna undo this almost 14 minutes now. We're just gonna keep going. It happens. Do you want to modify your pick, or are you still good with it?
No, I'm still good with it. He has
Tom Brady.
It's Tom Brady. He has that camaraderie with all of the guys around him. And that Bucs defense isn't exactly a slouch either. Same with the Rams, but I just think the Bucs have the edge when it comes to offensive firepower, and I think that's what's going to be the difference in this one.
Yeah, it's definitely not the same defense as last year. They had a lot of injuries in their secondary.
Yes.
But I'll tell you what, that run game, and San Francisco is very lucky they didn't get this game because they'd have zero chance to win this game because you ain't running the ball against Tampa. And I honestly think that's where it's going to unravel for the Rams is, if the reason they found some success here since the little slide they went on is that they were able to find some success in the run game. And you look at the wild card matchup with the Cardinals. Matthew Stafford was 13 of 17 throwing the ball. So they weren't relying heavily on him. And there have been times when they've relied heavily on Stafford that he's made a lot of crucial mistakes. And you know, I just don't. He's not a guy who has a lot of playoff experience. He just got his first playoff win against an opponent that he'd already played twice. And then he's got to go play Tom Brady and the Bucs, who are just at a completely different point in the season than when they beat him earlier. They got to go on the road. Tampa's played extremely well at home. But I'm not going to underrate the losses of guys like Godwin. I don't know if Evans. I don't remember if Evans played in the last game. But it was if Evans is there, you have Evans, Gronk, and there's just a litany of guys that step up for that team. And,
they're a well-depth team for sure.
Yeah. Well, and then they've got Tom Brady, who's been making average receivers look like superstars his entire career. You know.
Yeah. Well, that's another difference in this game too. Is, Tom Brady, he has the playoff experience. He has the championship experience. He's won numerous Super Bowl titles when he was with New England and one in Tampa Bay. Matthew Stafford has never really tasted that much of the playoffs.
Have you ever seen a Brady-Stafford matchup?
No.
There's a reason for that. There's a reason for that. You have one guy who has not been there versus a guy who has. And if the game's going to come down to who's going to make a mistake, I'm going to take the Rams on that one, who are going to make the mistake. That's what I think, and I think the Bucs advance. I do.
Yep, we are both in agreement on that one. Now, here's the next. This on the AFC side of things. This is a very intriguing matchup. The number 1 seed Titans against the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, I've really had to think a lot about this one because that Tennessee Titans team this year, they've been very consistent on both sides of the ball. They've been playing some great football. Really good. But I got to tell you something. You're going to think – most people will think I'm nuts for this, but they're going to think I'm nuts for whatever I say. I think this could be the time for Joe Burrow to get it done and go deeper. So I got to pick the Bengals in this one. I just feel something in my gut that says this is when Joe Burrow leads that team to the next step of his career. When he leads them one step closer to the Super Bowl.
I want that to happen so badly for a number of reasons. For one, that means I get to go to another home game if the Bills win. This is such a difficult game to make a prediction on just because there's so many unknowns with the Tennessee Titans in this game. We haven't seen Derrick Henry since he went out with a foot injury earlier in the year, and they weren't expecting him back at all. And now all of a sudden, because they said he might come back in Week 18, he didn't. He's had a couple weeks to rest. Maybe I'm just missing stuff, but I haven't heard anything about his status going forward. If he's going to play in this game, if he's going to play and be on a pitch count. Derrick Henry at 70%, 50 to 70% is probably better than anything they've got on that roster. But you have to, if he's not at 100%, you have to wonder, and you have to wonder about the Titans as a whole. I think Tannehill's a good quarterback, and A.J. Brown is an elite receiver. Julio's kind of been a little bit of a no-show this year, but he's still Julio Jones. You never know. He's been dealing with injuries.
Yes.
It's really going to come down to, though, how is Derrick Henry? Is he 50, 70%? Is he 100%? What are you going to get out of him? And, can that Titans defense, which I think is a little underrated, can they show up and make Burrow uncomfortable and cover those receivers? You've got a litany of receivers in the backfield. You've got Jamar Chase, obviously, who needs no introduction, and you've got guys like T. Higgins and an underappreciated and under-talked about receiver in Tyler Boyd. Like, how often do you hear on a sports talk show about Tyler Boyd? Not nearly enough.
No.
Not nearly enough does this man get talked about. He has been, and he was there before Higgins or Chase, and he has always been a very dependable receiver for that team. And they've also got a guy in Joe Mixon who's 25 years old. Look at the ages of these guys that they have here. This is like
Joe Mixon is a monster. He is one incredible running back. The stuff that he's able to do and some of the runs that he's been able to pull off and the jukes and all the moves that he has, it's incredible.
He really is. He is a tremendous player. And so they're not just one-dimensional. And the Bengals defense, God, don't sleep on them either. They really haven't been – they've really been kind of sneaky good, you know? So, you know, people saying that this is going to be tough for the Bengals to win it, it's very realistic that they can win this game.
I think it's going to – I mean, of course, you can always be dead wrong with these predictions, but, you know, looking at all that and seeing what – I mean, of course, I don't watch all these teams religiously. I mean, I focus mainly on my own team, that being the Bears. But, you know, from what I have seen, this matchup between Tennessee and Cincinnati could be this could be a very underrated matchup, and it could actually be very good.
Yep, the keys to the game really for Tennessee are – I think you need to make Burrow and those receivers and that offense as spectators. And I think you also, when they are on the field, you need to find a way to exploit the offensive line, which is probably one of the weaker units of that team. You know, people were in an uproar about them not taking Penei Sewell for a reason. Now, obviously, I think that we can all agree that the pick for Jamar Chase was a good one, but you know, they probably didn't fully address their need for offensive linemen. And I think that's still a question mark for the Bengals, and it's caused a somewhat of inconsistency during the season for them. You know, so I think that's still a part of their team that they need to correct. And if the Titans can make them spectators and that offense spectators, and if they can get in the backfield and make Burrow uncomfortable, this could be an ugly game in favor of the Titans. You could see the Titans winning kind of a blowout game, but if they allow Joe Burrow and these receivers to get rolling, it could be back and forth. Dare I say even ugly the other way if, you know, Derrick Henry doesn't start doing well and Ryan Tannehill turns into an interception machine, you know.
Well, and speaking of Derrick Henry, I just looked it up real quick. It sounds like he passed the test in a full padded practice. So it's looking like he's on his way to get the nod for a lot of reps in this game.
If that's the case, then if I'm going to have to give you my official pick, I do believe the Titans win this game. But I don't believe they'll win the following week, but I do believe they can win this week. I just believe the Bengals just have a little bit more work to do. But I'll tell you what, if I'm a Bengals fan and they lose this game, I'm not worried one bit because all of the stars on this team are so young and promising. And I believe really they're like a piece or two on the offensive line, maybe an elite game-changing defensive player away from really being up there with the Chiefs, with the Bills, the Bucs, Packers, and in that group of the top teams in the NFL.
Yeah, well, that's a very fair statement. I mean, and the numbers don't lie; they bear that out. But this game, you know, this is the one where I got to go with the underdog. I just have that gut feeling. If my gut is wrong, then so be it. Who cares, right?
I'm rooting for it, Sean.
But let's get to the big matchup, which I think actually my brother told me this the other night that he thinks this game is the true Super Bowl, a rematch of last year's AFC Championship. Your Buffalo Bills, so we already know who you're picking.
Oh no! Don't do this to me. Don't do it to me, man. Don't do it to me, man. I'm not a homer. I don't pick with my heart. So
well, I am. So So the Bills host the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs are the higher seed. The Kansas City Chiefs host the Buffalo Bills. Rematch of the AFC Championship last year. I know that wasn't good memories for you, but definitely a matchup of two high-powered offenses. If this tells you anything about what I think of Buffalo, I had three key offensive players from the Bills on my fantasy team, and I ended up winning our fantasy championship this year. So,
was it because of the Bills' individual players, or did you have some other good players?
I had three key players that were all very good: Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, and Dawson Knox, who was just sitting there and
Juggernauts. That's my man right there.
Juggernauts. Yes, I picked him up. He was just sitting there, and I just was doing the best I could to look at, how much has he been targeted? What's his productivity been like? And I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm taking a chance on him. Because wasn't there someone in there before him on the depth chart? Like, didn't he start off as number 2, or has he been their number 1 tight end?
No, he's number 1. There was really no one in there.
I was thinking there was someone in front of him.
Tyler Kroft and Lee Smith in the tight end room. So, I mean, yeah, Dawson Knox was definitely number 1 over those guys.
Well, he turned out to be one of the biggest in my fantasy league. He turned out to be hands down. I'm not trying to pat myself on the back here, but he turned out to be a key pickup amongst everybody in our league. And he just had a breakout year. So, but to give the Chiefs their credit, I mean, you can't not give them their credit. I mean, Patrick Mahomes, phenomenal player, one Super Bowl victory under his belt for his career. A lot of unbelievable talent around him. Great, very well, maybe not great, but a very solid defense. They've had some rough games this year, that defense, where they've haven't exactly looked so sexy. But this is just like that Rams and Bucks matchup. I mean, another case of two evenly matched teams. And this is one that I don't know. This could easily be a shootout. And I was gonna say a barn burner, but I think both defenses are gonna play better than, barn burner like esque or barn burner esque, however you want to describe it. So, I mean, yeah, we know what Patrick Mahomes can do, but another key thing that I got to talk about with Buffalo, your guys' offensive coordinator could very easily become the Bears' next head coach. Brian Daboll or DeBall, however you say his last name.
Brian Daboll.
Daboll, okay.
Yep.
I look at that massacre that they pulled off against the Patriots, and you look at Josh Allen's numbers: 5 touchdowns, 300 yards. I forget how much he rushed for, but I don't think he did much running that game. I can't.
6 for 64 or something like that.
Okay, so I stand corrected. I was trying to look for the rushing stats, but the first 7 drives of that game, all touchdowns. All touchdowns. What does that tell you about this offense and how Josh Allen has drastically progressed under Brian DeBall? It's been phenomenal. But the question is, as good as Patrick Mahomes and that Chiefs offense is, can the Bills defense shut them down? Can they be stingy enough to shut down Patrick Mahomes?
Yeah, and I don't think we'll shut down Patrick Mahomes, but it's the matter of just keeping them under wraps. We want to make it to be a game where they're chasing us. And because I think if we get into a game where they're chasing us from behind, I think that's a really favorable matchup for the Bills there. Where do I even start with this one?
Well, you're the Bills guy.
I'm talking about my own team, so it's
you know them better than me.
Here's the thing. Buffalo has been such a frustrating team this year, but they've also been it has been the absolute definition of peaks and valleys as a Bills fan. I traveled all the way to Jacksonville, Florida, to see the Bills literally lose to the worst team in the league, We played like the worst team. We literally have had games where we've looked like the worst team in the league at times. And then we've had games where, like, against the Patriots where we look like the best team in the league. And I feel the Bills have found something here with the run game, with Motor Singletary. Devin Singletary has since week 13, he has had he is fourth in the league in rushing since week 13. So he has been a force to be reckoned with for the Bills. And then, of course, you have Josh Allen, who's played incredibly well at times. And then he's had times where, like against the Falcons, where he goes 11 for 26 with 120 yards and 3 picks. But, of course, he ran the ball well, and so did Devin. That's really kind of where the key is. And, you look at that Patriots game, we ran the ball well, and Josh only threw the ball 25 times. That is where this offense is going to do well. Is where Josh isn't throwing the ball 47 times in a game. That's just not a winning formula. And you look at the last game against the Chiefs, Josh Allen was 15 for 26 for 315 yards and 3 touchdowns. That is what his stat line was against the Chiefs in a dominating victory. And you look at the games where Josh Allen has to throw the ball 40-plus times, it's not nearly look like that. So the run game is going to be a big key here for the Bills. And for the Chiefs, it's kind of the same type of thing. They've emerged somewhat of a run game. They're finding something with Jerick McKinnon. You saw what he did in the last matchup against the Steelers. And I think that's really what it comes down to is Mahomes taking what's there and being able to run the football with Jerick McKinnon. I think that helps out a lot. This is going to be back and forth regardless of whether it's a shootout or not, because you got to keep in mind that the Bills' defense is ranked number 1 in just about every category, and that's even without Trey White. So this is obviously a very impressive defense in Buffalo, but they could be meeting their match here with the Kansas City Chiefs, who've figured out a lot of things. Both teams looked impressive in their wild card matchup. I could argue the Bills looked more impressive, though. I mean, we played a Patriots unit, which is one of the better defenses in football. They played the washed-up Steelers, who were lucky to even get in there. So, obviously, a difference is there. Who do I pick to win the game? My God, it's really –
Let me just say this. Now, who am I thinking of? The receiver that on the Chiefs that got into the domestic with his wife and said, "You should be scared of me too, bitch."
Was it Tyreek Hill?
Tyreek Hill, yes. Piece of shit. Very good football.
Yeah, I didn't even get into talking about those guys. Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. My God, those 2 guys are a handful. You look at the Bills, Stephon Diggs, Dawson Knox, Cole Beasley, Emmanuel Sanders, Isaiah McKenzie, who's been somewhat of a Swiss Army knife for this team. But you look over there, we met our match there.
Yeah.
You've got Hill and Kelce. I'll tell you what, if the Chiefs had a third receiver like they had last year with Watkins, no one would beat them. But they've lacked that third receiver this year, and I think that's hurt them a little bit at times.
See, this is a situation where you're a guy like a Cole Beasley, it makes all the difference in the world. He's your escape valve, or what am I talking? Emergency valve or whatever.
Safety blanket.
Yeah, your safety blanket or safety valve. There's several terms for it. But yeah, he's your out when you're in trouble. So guys like him make all the difference. But as for this overall matchup, and I know you're probably too young to remember this, but any older professional wrestling fans out there will remember this, what Gorilla Monsoon used to say before every big wrestling match. This game is exactly what he described for a big wrestling match. The irresistible force meets the immovable object. And I think that's what we're getting in this one.
Absolutely. I feel like just everything points to giving the edge to the Bills. I think the Bills have the better defense. I think the Chiefs, in terms of talent-wise, my God, I don't want to say they have the better quarterback because Josh Allen does Superman things. The guy is unbelievable. You watch, he makes plays that make your jaw drop.
Yeah,
and he makes plays that you're like, what do you do to stop this? There was a play where he ran outside the pocket and picked up, a bunch on the first possession. New England had that play defended perfectly. They had everyone covered. They had Judon in there spying on Josh Allen. And Judon is an athletic guy. He's extremely athletic. This isn't like some freaking slow defensive lineman that Josh Allen outran. And he went from 0 to 100, and he just runs right by the guy. She runs right by him out of bounds. And Bill Belichick has to be on there on the sideline like,
okay, I give up. How do we stop this guy? I'm out of answers. The first time in my coaching career, I'm out of answers.
In terms of, I would say probably the Chiefs, probably in terms of the consistent performer, probably have the better quarterback. But the Bills have the better defense. They have a Josh Allen that's hot right now. And if he comes in and is Superman Josh like he was there, and the Bills get running the ball, and we bottle up the Chiefs, my God, this could be a game where we run away with it.
Well,
I'm not saying the Bills are going to play a game like that again. I think it's going to be a close game. That's what I think. But man, if they can put it together, and if Josh plays the way we know he can play, this is a handful for the Chiefs and any team. That team, if they're playing like that, running the ball and throwing the ball around with Josh playing extremely well, and they play great defense, this team's winning the Super Bowl. And it's like, I don't care if it's the Packers. Give me the Bucks. Give me the Packers. Give me the Rams. I don't give a shit.
It's like, bring it on.
Give me all of them. Bring it on. Seriously, bring it on.
Well, all I know is I'm picking the Bills in this one, and I don't say that because you're a friend of mine, and I'm not even giving sympathy for the 4 consecutive losses in the 90s against, the Cowboys twice and the Giants and the Redskins. And yes, I still call them Redskins. I don't give a shit. But I think this is the game for payback for last year. And also this is the chance for Josh Allen to really prove himself that he's like, yeah, I'm elite. I can beat the best. Hear me roar. So I'm picking the Bills.
I'm not trying to pick with my heart here. I'm really not. I could easily see the Chiefs winning this game. It can happen. It's totally can happen. I'm not going to get on here and say, oh, no chance, Buffalo's winning, But I have a feeling that I think because, you look at the playoffs last year, the Bills had won a couple of close games where they didn't play that great. You saw the game against the Colts where they probably should have lost. The Ravens, we only put up 10 points on offense, and then we went into Kansas City, and I feel like we were kind of this is a different Bills team going in. I think the Bills are playing their best football coming into this game. I don't feel they were playing their best football coming into this game last year. And I know that's weird to say when you win 2 playoff games, but I think that the Bills are just playing their best football right now. And if we see even like 80% of what we just saw in that last game, this Bills team is a machine. A well-oiled machine.
Yes.
That will absolutely get the fuck out of the way. They will run you over. We're not stopping here. Give me the Bills.
Damn right. I agree with you. And I know you're not talking homer there, but
give me the Bills. And this is no disrespect to the Chiefs, because if we don't show up and play our A game, the Chiefs can absolutely beat us. 100%. We've lost to the Jaguars, which that Jags game is the reason this game is being played in KC. We win that Jags game, we're 12-5, and we have a tiebreaker over the Chiefs.
Another reason for Josh Allen to play with an extra chip on his shoulder. How about that?
Right. And in defense in that Jaguars game, Josh Allen didn't play well, but Josh Allen played almost MVP type ball.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So even when Josh Allen doesn't play well, Josh Allen still balls out. So I mean, I feel like that's the universe's way of saying that Josh Allen will always prevail.
Yeah.
That's
All right, folks. Well, there you have it. There is my picks and Syracuse and Buffalo sports picks for the divisional round of the 2022 NFL playoffs. Yeah, it's been a blast, man, having you on, and still got the AFC and the NFC title games and the Super Bowl, and I'm sure you'll more than willing to come back for those.
For sure. Even if the Bills aren't in it, I'll come. I'm not going to run and hide.
Right. I mean, but of course, it's more fun when your team's in it. Absolutely.
It makes it harder to pick, though. I'll tell you what.
My team didn't even make the playoffs, and here I am.
I don't think that'll be much longer. I think you guys will break through.
I hope so. I just hope the Bears can get somebody that can work with Justin Fields and develop him, because under Nagy, they would have failed. He would have been out. He would have been a bum. So hopefully they make the right choice and get the right GM here to be, well, smart for a change in Chicago. But the McCaskies, I don't know. But that's a whole nother video for a whole different day.
Absolutely. So, we should definitely do this again soon. And you take care, Sean, and take care, Internet.
Yep.
And Sean 45 subscribers. Have a good night.
Yep. And of course, anybody watching who doesn't know about the other channel, go hit up my buddy Ben and I, Irish Benjamin 57, over at our new show that we've been doing for 2 years now, the Two Irish Brothers. Make sure to go check out our videos over there. So on that note, Syracuse Buffalo Sports, thank you for joining me. I'll see you next week for predicting the championship games. And on that note, everyone, good night. God bless. Go Irish, and go all my picks.
Let's go Buffalo.